Good morning, guys. So today we're going to do a little review of economics 2. We're going to go over the topic that is how to be a good citizen that it was on the book. You already work on the activities for this topic already on T-Box. But right now we are going to be doing some of the reviews of the content so you can have a better understanding of what the topic is all about. Let's start with the first part. And first we need to define what is a citizen. By definition, this one is the definition that you will see in the books. And if you have, in your case, probably you may have the textbook at home. But by definition, being a citizen means giving allegiance to a country in return for the protection by it. What is the meaning of the word allegiance? Allegiance basically means that you give support to the country, that if the country needs you and then they require you for something, you are going to be there to help them out in order to get protection by it. So that means that the country can protect you, can provide you everything you need to survive and have a normal life. Sorry, you become a citizen by birth, or you can be naturalized. Therefore, as a citizen, you have certain rights and responsibilities. There are two ways, remember, in which you can become a citizen, either by birth or by being naturalized. So this means what is by birth? Obviously, it's what the word says, right? By being born in a certain country in which you have the nationality of that case. For example, if you are born in El Salvador, you have the Salvadorian nationality. But if, for example, you were born in the United States and your parents are Salvadorian, you have the nationality of both places. The process of naturalization is a process in which you do a lot of tryouts or a lot of tests in which people is going to determine if you are suitable to be nationalized. So in this case, for example, they require you to make an oral test, to make a written test, written evaluation, and many other trials so people can earn the citizenship. This is really common, for example, with people that travel to the United States and they are not legal, but then they go through a process, and with that process, they achieve this condition or this status in the United States. Then we are going to move on to the rights and responsibilities of every citizen. They are really simple. They are really straightforward. I don't want to bore you with details, but we're going to go straightforward with the meaning of them. I want you to notice that even though this chart represents the rights and responsibilities of citizens in the US, that doesn't mean that it doesn't apply to all the parts of the world, okay? Because all citizens have the same responsibilities and rights almost in every place. Freedom to express yourselves. That is the first right that you have. That means that you are able to express yourself in any way, shape, or fashion, and nobody has the right or nobody can shut you down. That means that nobody can censor you to say whatever you want to say and however you want to say it, either on social media, either by spoken form. You are free to speak of whatever you want. And that is one of the rights that you have as a citizen. That is the liberty of speech, that you can raise your voice in the case you are not in agreement with something, or you can determine if you agree with something or not. Freedom to worship as you wish. In this case, we're talking about religion. That means that you are free to choose any religion that you like to, and you are able to worship any God that you believe in. It doesn't matter which God are we talking about or which religion are we talking about. You have the right to choose and nobody can tell you otherwise. In that regard, the right to a prompt fair trial by jury. So in this case, we're talking about, like, for example, if you commit a crime, you have the right to be taken by jury because before you are taken to jail. Because you need to be proven if you are guilty or if you are innocent by how you do on the trial. Then the right to vote in elections for public officials. You have the right to vote. So that means that nobody can tell you otherwise. If somebody tells you, no, you cannot vote because of this and this and that, constitutionally, you have been given this right and you can do it when the time comes because you have the right to choose who is going to be the person that governs you. Right to apply for federal employment requiring US citizenship. In this case, we're talking about that in the US, if you become a citizen, you can apply for a job with the government. As on the case, like here in El Salvador, you already have that right. You don't need to do any tests. You don't need to do any type of process in order to get a job with the government. You can just apply, and if you're lucky, and if you are the one that is right for a job, you will get it. Then the next one is right to run for elected office. So that means that you have the right to be part of a political party and be chosen as one of the representatives of each of the parties. Then free to pursue life, liberty, and happiness. In this case, we're talking that those are rights that you have. The life, that your life is preserved and in mint conditions. That liberty, that nobody can take away the liberty out of you. That means that nobody can tell you what to do or what you cannot do, and they can obligate you to do certain things that you don't want, and pursue happiness, to look for the things that fulfill you as a human being and achieve them in any way, shape, or form that you want. Those are your rights as a citizen. Now let's move on to the responsibilities. First, you have the responsibility to support and defend the Constitution. So that means that if the Constitution said that you have certain responsibility, you have to respect that, because that's written in the letter or in the document that is the basis of any country. Stay informed of issues affecting your community. If you notice, like for example, that in your neighborhood, something is wrong, like for example, there is a big hole on the street and you can do something and you are informed about it, you can inform about that to your city hall and they can fix it so everybody can benefit from that action. Participate in the democratic process. We talk about voting, and as well, you are able to participate in many other ways, like for example, being one of the person that receives the votes when people is voting, or being part of the election process in any way, shape, or form. Respect and obey federal, state, and local laws. If you travel from, for example, department to department, there are some cases in which laws may change, but we need to obey all the types of laws, because if we disobey them, remember that they have consequences. And I think that you are really, really nice students, you're really, really nice people, and you wouldn't like to break the law in any way, shape, or form. Right to respect the rights, beliefs, and opinions of others. Everybody has different opinions, different ways of thinking, or different things that they believe in. And they have the total right to express themselves how they want about those things. We have the responsibility to respect them. That you don't agree with something, that doesn't mean that you're going to attack that person or you're going to make them feel bad because of their decisions. Participate in your local community, like for example, in this case, if your community does something for the welfare of everything that is going on over there, like for example, if you see that your community does a festival, right? Like for example, the ones that we do for Holy Week, in which people make the different rocks on the street, that's a local community activity. You can participate on that. That's your responsibility because you are part of the community. Then the next one, pay income and other taxes honestly and on time to the federal, state, and other authorities. In this case, we're talking about the money, because the taxes are the things that you pay in order to have public services on your own. So that means that taxes is the money that is paid in order for you to have electricity service, water service, or some vigilance in some of the places, or even in the case, the public health service. Serve on a duty when called upon. In this country, when you become 18, or older, you can be called to testify on a jury at any moment. So in this case, we are talking about a way in which people is going to tell you, okay, this is your responsibility, you have to come. They defend your country if the need should arise. That means that in this case, if, for example, somebody is trying to invade the country and a war comes on its way, then you have the responsibility to take part into the process and try to intervene in any way, shape, or form. There are some characteristics of a good citizen we're going to talk about that are, the first one is to respect others, okay? This is really simple, straightforward, and respecting others. The golden rule, treat people however you want to be treated. This means that how you treat people is going to be the way in which people is going to treat you. Simple as that. If you show respect to for example, your older peers, or for example, your parents or teachers or whoever is older than you and deserve the respect, they're going to respect you back. Showing compassion. What's the meaning of showing compassion? It means that probably you see a person that is in need or in a big problem, and then you get moved by that situation, and then you start doing something to help that person get out of that place. In this case, you're showing compassion because it's moving you to act to change the reality of that person. Acting responsibly. So that means that, for example, I give you a really little example. Like if you are on Christmas, right? And there are some people that they get so drunk that they start using their guns and shooting to the air. They don't know if one of the bullets is going to hit another person that probably is just passing by and doesn't have any guilt of that. But in this case, it's going to be responsible to stop drinking or probably to not do that action because you know that you can hurt somebody. Practicing self-discipline, that it means self-control. Demonstrating that you are able to control yourself in any situation. That means that you can control your anger, you can control your tongue, you can control the actions that you do. Demonstrating loyalty, that means that no matter what happens, you're going to be there for the people that needs you, that you promise them to be. And living honestly. That means that you are going to live in a way in which everything you do is legal and it's according to the law. That you're not going to be doing some shady business. Like for example, there is some people over there outside in the country that is maybe selling drugs or maybe selling different stuff that is not good for people. Like people that wash money, that you know that duplicate money and that's fake. That's illegal and that's not living honestly. Because let me ask you the question, think it on yourself when you watch the video back. Would you like to live a life in which everything you have is not yours, or you haven't gotten it because of your effort, but because of you stole it or you did something shady to get it? You will probably live with a consciousness that is always reminding you of that and is always feeling guilty because of that. How to be a good citizen? First, we're going to see the 4 characteristics over here, and then we are going to see other 4. A good citizen is a patriotic person. That means that they show devotion to their country and they are proud of their national colors and the national cultural values and showing critical loyalty to their nation. That means, for example, in the United States, you see that people love the American flag. People always love those colors and they are really proud of being American because that's the American way. And that way we're talking about, that's patriotism. They show respect, they show admiration because of the country that they live in. Model the personal qualities of a good citizen. Remember that people is always looking at you in either a good or a bad way. So in this case, we're talking that people, you are the reflect of your values, okay? The way you behave, the way you speak, the way you interact with everybody shows the values that you have. And the values that a good citizen should have are honesty, okay? Tolerance, compassion, and kindness. Then be a productive member of society. Good citizens share their skills, talents, and ability with others. So that means that they are not stingy with the abilities they have. How do you know it? For example, if you are a doctor or you want to study to be a doctor, you have to give service to the community because in that way you contribute to your nation. Doctors are experimenting this with the, the situation that we're living right now because they are being called upon to be a productive member of society, but serving the nation. And sometimes probably they don't even get paid by that, but they are serving the nation and helping the country out. Be an active in your community. That means that in your community, you can practice social life of the city or the town. So that means that you can help out so your community becomes better. And in that case, you're going to help people out a lot. The last 4 characteristics are keep yourself well informed. Reading and information is the best weapon that you can have because when you educate yourself about something, probably you know how to face about it. For example, with the virus that we're living right now, we know the information tells us that if we wash our hands, we stay home, and we apply social distance, we are not going to get infected. That means that in this case, we're talking about that information could save your life. Participate in your nation's political life. If you want to be a citizen, you should be politically active. What do I mean by that? That you should vote. There are some people that when they get to the majority of age, they say, no, I'm not going to vote because nothing changes. The country doesn't change whatsoever. So in this case, we are saying that we have to be part of that because it's all right. Because if we don't do so, then we're giving our vote to another person. And when that happens, then this person is going to decide for us. And you may say, one vote is not going to make the change. But there are many people that think like that. And then they are the first ones to complain about the government and the people that is at the head of every country. Be a mentor. Today's kids are tomorrow's citizens. Help them shape the citizens of the future by mentoring kids. So that means that you have to show them the values that you have as a nice citizen and how they can implement it to live an exemplary life. So that is something that we can mentor kids, like for example, how to respect the national flag, the importance of voting, why is it important to be a nice person, what is it important to help others, and that is going to be a really nice lesson to them so they can develop those. And order your corner of the world. Your home, sorry, is a microcosmos. That means that is your environment, but it's like your kingdom, the thing that you can control. If you want to live in a clean, healthy, prosperous, happy nation, start by creating this circumstance at home. So that means that first, you should apply all the characteristics of a good citizen at home. Trying to be a good citizen at home and applying all the values and things that you have learned on your own in order to change your house first. Because when you change your house first, you are able to change the rest of the world. With that, we're going to finish this part of the explanation. On the next video, we're going to go over the review of you and the environment and as well on the next online intervention. So I hope that this video has been helpful and it has helped you to understand better the topic. And remember that if you have any questions, you can contact me on T-Box and I will gladly answer them. So this has been Mr. Robert. This is everything for the video and I will talk to you until the next online session and until the next video. Take care.